Hi everyone, it's Don and I hope you're having a fantastic day. Well, it looks like there's some ships. They're ready to sail and we're pretty excited for some of them. As well as big news, at least a big push again about travel coming from cross borders. As well as one country is finally opening up to international travels. Almost. So first off, let's talk about Virgin's Valiant Lady, the second ship in their planned fleet of 4. We already have the Scarlet Lady sailing out there. Remember just a little while ago we talked about the Scarlet Lady getting a facelift on some of her cabins. They're about 50% done. They're refreshing it, giving more drawer space. They're giving a brighter feel to the cabins. They're giving it less of a stark kind of a, like a hostel kind of like a situation, or a college dormitory is always what I hear quoted by even myself when I looked at those cabins to begin with. But the Valiant Lady has already had all that done. All her cabins are already redone, and she starts sailing next month in Europe for European vacation. So it'll be interesting to see what everyone thinks of that ship with the new design when she starts sailing. Another ship that's kind of excited, a lot of people are waiting for, the Celebrity Beyond has passed her sea trials and is now officially ready to set sail. Her sailings begin the beginning of April, again on European holidays. I'm on her in July. Fingers crossed, nothing happens, can still go. And of course, Captain Kate has left the Celebrity Edge and she's now on board the Celebrity Beyond. And yeah, she's taken helm. I cannot think of too many better captains to be out there. So very excited to visit the Celebrity Beyond in July and see what she's all about. Because every time they bring out a new Edge class, she's slightly different than the other Edge as far as the decoration and the decor inside. So really, fingers crossed. I'm really looking forward to it. Now, we talked about a bunch of the travel agency, Airlines of America, travel tourism, all pushing the government to ease restrictions on testing and the requirements for cross-border. Well, we now have another push here in Canada saying that the restrictions are just out of date now, and the required testing is out of date with everybody else around the world. So here in Canada, you still have to have an antigen test to fly locally. You have to have a PCR test to fly into Canada, whether you're a US citizen, a Canadian citizen returning. If you're traveling in from Europe, some of them still have to quarantine when they get here. We are the only country of the G7 that still requires a PCR test to fly into Canada. The only country out there. And so we now have Air Canada, we have the tourism industry, the Travel Agency Association of Canada, we have the Airport Associations of Canada, and now we have WestJet have all joined forces and gone to the government to say, hey, why are we the only ones with these restrictions? Why are we hurting our own tourism because of these out-of-date restrictions? Because getting a test to come into Canada does not stop COVID from coming in anymore. COVID's been here. We've been living with it. We've been, it's a milder strain. Some people still get sick. However, it's not near what it was when it was the older variants. And it's just saying, what happens when you come down and test positive? 99.9% of people have cold symptoms, if anything, and they have to isolate. So what's the difference between testing when you get here, spot check everybody, and if somebody tests positive, they have to isolate? It would be so much simpler than requiring that PCR test every single time in both directions. I agree with the push. A PCR test is kind of obsolete at this point because you're not stopping anything from getting into the country or leaving the country. It's just the way it is. Now, before I tell you what country is finally opening up to international travel, it's a pretty big one. let me invite you to hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already. Really does help the channel out. It can also keep you up to date with all things cruising, all the new ships like we just talked about, all the flight regulations like we just talked about. Any restrictions that are out there, everything that's lifting, because we're hoping that those restrictions start easing very shortly on the cruise ship, and you'll find out here first which ones and which cruise lines are lifting, so you can make the decision on whether or not you want to go on the cruise and which cruise line to choose and which ship to choose. It just helps you in a lot of ways, and if you sign up to subscribe to the channel, it really helps out the channel a lot, and I would really appreciate it. Okay, Australia. Much in the news about Australia as the tourism industries, the farmers, the shopkeepers, everybody has been on the government to open up tourism, and they're finally doing it. That's right, as of 21st of February this month, they are opening up travel to international tourists if you're fully vaccinated. So at least they've started, right? If you've been fully vaccinated, you can now travel to Australia. You know what you can't do though when you get to Australia? You still can't take a cruise. That's right. For some reason, you still can't take a cruise. So a tourist can fly from Australia to anywhere in the world, take a cruise, and then fly back. Don't need to be tested. Don't need to be isolated. You're fully vaccinated. Come on back. However, you can't take a cruise from your own country, even if you're fully vaccinated. And the big reason for this is the state and the federal governments there are arguing back and forth on who's responsible. And the federal government says we're looking for guidance from the states of what they want to do and reopening, and the states are saying, well, it's a federal issue. The federal government needs to come out and tell us what to do, and neither one wants to make a decision. Surprise, governments don't want to make a decision. Are you shocked? Because I'm not. Not in the least. But that's what's happening right now in Australia. At least you can fly to Australia, and you can look at, now you can't even look at the cruise ships because the cruise ships aren't there. They are no longer, Carnival pulled out her ships. The Carnival Spirit has disappeared. It will be months before, even on the 21st, if they turned around and said, by the way, you know what? We think we made a mistake. You can sail here in Australia. You can go on a cruise now. As long as you're fully vaccinated, you can go on a cruise. You can't, because it'll take another couple months before the cruise lines can get their ships up and running and staffed and provisioned and excursions booked and all these other things they have to do to get a ship ready. It's going to be months. And some cruise lines have pulled their sailings all the way to October, November of 2022, thinking that it's just going to take that long in Australia. So a little glimmer of hope, but as far as cruises are concerned, there's still absolutely no talks and no consideration in Australia. Well, I hope you appreciate this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Want to see more tips, more tricks, more travel blogs from around the world? Hit that subscribe button. Until next time, have yourself a safe and a great vacation.